Welcome to the It's in Queens podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Simmons, and this is the only podcast that focuses on my borough of Queens. This podcast comes to you each week thanks to the Queens Economic Development Corporation and the Queens Tourism Council. They work tirelessly to showcase our borough as a destination full of unique experiences, cultural gems, and opportunities for everyone who lives here, works here, or visits from near or far. Okay, it has been a very cold week here in Queens, so I hope everyone is staying nice and warm and nice and safe. While the cold weather may not be everyone's favorite, there's something magical about seeing Queens blanketed in snow. From Flushing Meadows Corona Park to Astoria Park, it is truly a winter wonderland. And if braving the cold is not your cup of tea, well, and you should have a cup of tea during this weather, don't worry. Queens has plenty of indoor activities to enjoy, from catching a movie at one of our theaters to visiting a museum or enjoying indoor sports. There is no shortage of ways to stay entertained while staying warm. Queens is known as one of the most diverse places in the world, and nowhere is that more evident than in our arts and cultural offerings. From world-renowned institutions like the Queens Museum and Flushing Town Hall to smaller community-based organizations and local artists, Queens offers something for everyone, whether it's visual art, theater, dance, music, or cultural festivals. Supporting the arts is crucial, not just for entertainment, but because it brings us together, reflects our stories, and enriches our communities. However, many smaller venues and independent artists face significant challenges, from funding to finding spaces to create and perform. That is why this podcast always aims to shine a spotlight on the incredible work that is being done across Queens. In today's episode, we'll hear from Susan Agin, Executive Director of the Queens Culture and Arts Network. She shares her insights on how Queens' artistic community is thriving, the importance of collaboration, and the work her network is doing to ensure that cultural programming remains accessible to everyone. Let's dive into that interview. Susan Agin, welcome to the It's in Queens podcast.
Well, thanks so much. It's so nice to have this opportunity to sit down and chat with you.
I'd love to start off this way. Before we get into the work of your organization, I would love to first find out about your career journey and then your current role as the Director of Arts Programming at the Variety Boys and Girls Club of Queens.
Okay, well, let's see. That's a lot to cover, but let me make it brief.
All in 30 seconds. No, I'm kidding. It could be longer.
The arts have always played a significant role in my life. Music was like a second language, if you will, in my house growing up. So we were singing and dancing as much as we were eating and sleeping. And the arts were a fabulous outlet for me as a kid. And then I studied music and dance in high school and then in college. And one of my first jobs was teaching dance. And then eventually I landed my first job in arts administration at Flushing Town Hall in Queens. In terms of, you see, the Queens Culture and Arts Network is a subsidiary of the Variety Boys and Girls Club of Queens. And yes, I do arts programming. I provide arts programming there. The Variety Boys and Girls Club of Queens is an incredible organization. They've been around for 70 years. And among so many other things, what they do is they help children find their passion. And I know what that was like, and I know what that did for me. So being able to provide arts programming that is accessible to over 3,000 children annually is necessary and very fulfilling.
And you've spent a good amount of your career in Queens. You attended Queens College. What does the borough mean to you personally? How has it influenced your work?
Well, yes, I've been here really. I've lived in Queens my entire life, and I've worked in Queens probably 3/4 of my life. And living in Queens has really helped to shape who I am. It's given me incredible access to the arts in Manhattan, as well as to excellent public schools where I was able to study the arts in addition to my core academic studies. Every borough has its own rhythm, characteristics, and culture. And I believe that I understand and can relate to those qualities of Queens.
Now, what I want to jump right into is the foundation of the Queens Culture and Arts Network. Why did you feel it was important for Queens to have an organization like this?
Well, just like every borough has its own characteristics, every community has its own characteristics. And what QCAN, we call it QCAN, right? Queens can. What QCAN does is it caters to the unique needs and characteristics of each of the communities that it serves. So we create relevant artistic experiences for the diverse communities, and probably what's most important is that individuals can discover and engage with the arts in their local neighborhoods, and that's important.
QCAN, I'm going to say QCAN from now on in this interview, offers a variety of programs from arts and school residencies to neighborhood beautification projects. Walk me through an impact or two, that you've had on the community, because I would love for folks to know a concrete example or two.
Well, QCAN it provides access to distinctive arts programming. So, for example, what may work in Flushing may not work in Middle Village, and programs that are available in Jamaica may not be available in College Point. Well, now they are. So, for example, everyone knows Long Island City has uh, so many beautiful exhibit spaces. Bayside has none. So maybe there's a pop-up exhibit in Bayside that showcases the work of local artists, which is so cool. And then maybe Kew Gardens has a choir for older adults, which it now does, and they meet every Monday at the Kew Gardens Community Center. So that's how we're able to create unique experiences based on the characteristics of these communities.
And I should ask, we use the word network. QCAN involves the N, network. What does the network exist of? Like, I'm assuming it's not just large organizations, it's small as well. It's a variety of people because, as you've noted, each district has a different flavor, different community, different community. Would love for you to just talk a little about the network.
So it's a network of artists. It's a network of communities. It's a network of the elected officials who fund a lot of these programs, and so that's where the network comes in. Um, you know, it's never just one person or one organization that makes um, that makes a borough unique and successful. Um, it's the people that come together and share resources and work together for the betterment of the borough.
And I would be remiss if I did not mention that you have a big event coming up this month, your first big ticket show. I would love for you to talk a little about what's going to take place if people want to get involved and, of course, attend.
Thank you so much. I will let you know that. But I'm just thinking about that last question, and I just want to expand on that a little bit more.
Mhm.
We partner, really is the network and the partnerships. That's what's important. And we partner with local elected officials and with groups native to each of the communities to find out what their community is lacking. And so that's where the networking also, that's how the networking takes place. You mentioned our new a program that we have coming up. So let me share information about that. Programming QCAN's programming takes place throughout Queens. And if you log on to our website, which is QCAN, it's QCAnetwork.org, QCA Network, there's that name again, .org, you can see the programming we're currently offering. And that includes workshops and training and concerts and performances. I mean, I think we have listed there about, 15 or 16 free park concerts that are going to be taking place this spring. But we do have a program taking place in East Elmhurst on January 31st, and that is the Zuzu African Acrobats. They performed on America's Got Talent. These these athletes, I call them athletes because they really are. They defy gravity. They are absolutely amazing. And so it's a great program for the entire family. It takes place at a beautiful theater, which, a lot of people don't know about. The Lexington Center, which is in East Elmhurst, New York, has a beautiful theater that was actually funded by Ralph and Ricky Lauren, the designers.
Wow.
And so it's called I think Ricky's name is first, the Ricky and Ralph Lauren Performing Arts Center at the Lexington Center. And it's a beautiful theater. It holds about 450 people. So the Zuzu African Acrobats will be performing at the Ricky and Ralph Lauren Performing Arts Center at the Lexington School in East Elmhurst on January 31st at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $25 and can be purchased on our website. And actually, there'll be two shows that day. The first show is at 10:30, and we'll be hosting 450 school-aged children, and then we're opening it up to the public at 7:30.
So what's so interesting, before we wrap up, what's so interesting is that there's such a diverse array of opportunities here in Queens, and many people don't realize that. I've come to discover that a lot more, not just from living here, but from doing this podcast over the last few years. I never run out of opportunities to talk with people who are behind arts and cultural programming. What does it mean to you to live in a borough like this, where you have such opportunity?
Well, it's really everything. But what's interesting, Jeff, is that as many opportunities as there are, not all people are accessing what's available. And, we can talk about why that is. I don't know. But I do think that this organization is going to help narrow that gap because we are bringing these experiences into the communities, into the neighborhoods, and making them accessible and affordable. Much of what we do is free, and so nobody will have an excuse anymore not to be able to participate. And at least for me, music and music is life, as far as I'm concerned. I think it gets us through some of our darkest times in our lives, and that can't be minimized. And so that's what we aim to do.
You use the word participate, and that's leads me to the next question, which is if people want to not just attend an event, but somehow support you, volunteer, participate in some way, what are the opportunities?
Oh my gosh, we have so much ground to cover. And so I that would be it would be a blessing for artists to reach out, teaching artists, performing artists, certainly volunteers, anybody who wants to give back in their community. Because remember, if you grew up in Jamaica and you want to give back there, we can do that. You don't have to give back to Woodside if that's not where you feel you can do your best work. That's why this is so exciting. So certainly volunteers and artists and teaching artists, and if you have a particular skill, the arts needs so much support. And what I mean by that is, if you're an accountant, let's do it. We need you. If you're an architect, well, the Variety Boys and Girls Club is going to be, is right at the cusp of groundbreaking on a beautiful new building. We need your input. There's no area that cannot be useful to us. So if you want to take this exciting ride with us, you can certainly contact us through our website. There's a place there to leave us a note. You can join our mailing list and follow us on all our socials, or even give us a ring.
And before I let you go, Susan, please remind our listeners where they should go to access your website.
Okay, very good. And that's QCA, www.qcanetwork.org. And QCA Network is our name on all of our socials. So you can find us on YouTube and X, right now it's X, and Facebook and so forth. We are there, QCA Network. I just want to mention we have so many free concerts and events coming up, and as I said, plenty of training and workshop opportunities. But I'll mention while I'm with you that in April, I believe it's April 27th, it's a Sunday, we'll be presenting the very popular Bronx Wanderers, and with an opening act called This Magic Moment, which is a fabulous tribute to the Drifters. This is going to be a really exciting show, and that show is going to take place at our very own Queens Theater. So if that's something that would interest you, that information will be available on our website, and tickets will go on sale very shortly.
So basically, it comes down to the Bronx comes to Queens.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, Queens is where it's at. QCAN, Queens can, Queens can. And so you don't have to travel far to engage and to have some fun and to have your spirits uplifted. And that's what drives me.
And on that high note, I would love to thank you, Susan Agin, for appearing here on the It's in Queens podcast.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you, everyone. Thanks all.
Supporting the arts is something I am deeply passionate about because I've seen firsthand how they can transform lives and communities. The arts bring us together, celebrate our diversity, and give voices to stories that need to be heard. And in a borough as vibrant as Queens, supporting the arts is not just about enjoying a performance or visiting a gallery. It is about preserving the cultural fabric that makes this place so special. So every ticket you buy, every event you attend, and every artist you support helps keep that fabric alive and thriving. So here's my challenge to you. Make it a priority to explore the arts in Queens this year. Maybe there's a venue you've never visited before, or a cultural experience you've been meaning to check out. Now is the time to put it on your calendar. So let's make it a collective New Year's resolution to support the arts in Queens, whether it's by attending an exhibit, seeing a local play, or simply spreading the word about all of the amazing talent that we have here. Queens arts community is waiting for you, and there's so much to discover. And speaking of discovery, if you're looking for something else to do this month, well, we have you covered. That is where Rob Mackay comes in. He's with the Queens Tourism Council and the Queens Economic Development Corporation, and every week he brings us details on some of the more dynamic events that are happening in Queens. Here's this week's report.
Well, Jeff, it's the year of the snake, which is sort of a problem for me because I'm scared of those slithery creatures, but it's good for people who like to consume culture in Queens. And a lot of stuff is about to unfold. This weekend, the Nai Ni Chen Dance Company performs twice at Queens College. That, of course, would be Saturday and Sunday, January 25th and January 26th. You'll probably get your dragons and your lions, but attendees should also expect the coin stick dance, the spear dance, the way of fire, and the whirlwind dance. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if you're familiar with Nai Ni Chen, but it was filmed by a woman of the same name in 1988 with the goal to fuse American modern dance with traditional Asian choreography. Since then, the company, the troupe, has won all kinds of awards, including one from the NEA, the National Endowment for the Arts. So they're great, and I couldn't recommend it more, although then again, you got to deal with those snakes. All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Rob. That is just a few of the things that are happening in our borough. And the place to go to discover everything that's on tap, well, head right over to the It's in Queens website at itsinqueens.com. And by the way, if you're interested in more business news, how to help your business or friends or family members, well, then head right over to the Queens Economic Development Corporation's website at queensny.org. And when you're there, sign up for their newsletter. By the way, when you visit any arts or cultural venue in Queens, snap some photos and share them with us. Use the hashtag on social media of It's in Queens. Remember, the hashtag is It's in Queens, because your photo could become our photo of the week. I'm your host, Jeff Simmons, and that's it for this week's It's in Queens podcast. Stay warm.